The Radio Guys podcast powered by AA Best Bail Bonds at 210-225-2121. Oficinas throughout San Antonio open 24/7. Stress-free bail bonds at 210-225-2121.
They call me the Radio Guy. I play Tejano music, it's my high.
The Radio Guys podcast, bringing the Texas lifestyle to life. Nuestra música, nuestra cultura, nuestra tradición. Topics that affect and reflect who we are, whether you live in the Lone Star State, the 49 other states, or anywhere in the world. So welcome, everyone, to the only Tejano State of Mind podcast. And now, here are the Radio Guys, Jonny Ramirez and Mico Rodriguez.
Back in the saddle again.
Welcome to episode 7. Bienvenidos. Primero que todo, gracias por estar aquí con nosotros on this Veterans Day 2024. And before we get started, let me just say that if you're a veteran, man or woman, thank you so much for your brave hearts, selfless hard work, honor to duty and country. It's because of these qualities that knuckleheads like me and Mico get to do what we love, and that's just have fun on the radio or doing a podcast. So thank you so much for all your service. We sincerely appreciate it.
With honor and gratitude, and also for all our Vietnam veterans. Hey, welcome home, and thank you so much for your service.
All right. Now, on the show this week, if you like to keep up with the horoscope, you're going to definitely like our guest esta semana, all right? By the way, asking you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's the Radio Guys Podcast, Radio Guys Podcast, and follow us on Facebook. It's Radio Guys PC. Get it done by December 9th. We've got an autographed guitar when we're going to make sure that before he leaves, tonight's guest autographs as well. And December 9th, that's the deadline or whatever the hell you want to call it. And we actually award the guitar on December 16th. Plenty of time to wrap it up for Christmas if you got somebody in mind, or maybe you just want to put it up and show it off. It's all good, right?
Absolutely.
All right. By the way, if you need more information about what's ever going on here on the podcast, or if you want to send us information on an upcoming event that you've got 2025 or later on this year, by all means, send us all the info to info@radioguyspc.com. Did I get that right?
That's right. That's correct. Send it there. We'll take a look. We'll get those everything going up. Also, before we get rolling along, too, I want to thank our executive producer, the man running the controls of the background, Grammy Award-winning Gilbert Velasquez.
16-time Grammy Award winner, yeah.
Además, our video technical director, working his magic on all the cameras, Albert Velasquez. And then the social butterfly, social media manager, Lexi Rodriguez, always yell at me, you need to post this, you need to post that. Post toasty, somebody.
Post whatever you want, girl. I don't care. By the way, nice job there.
Thank you very much. 2 points for the Spurs. Thank you.
AA Best Bail Bonds is a proud sponsor of the Radio Guys podcast. If you ever, because trust me, sometimes life is moving 100 miles an hour, and before you know it, you're sitting in the back of a squad car. Do yourself a favor, do your family, your friends a favor, and call AA Best Bail Bonds at 210-225-2121. Memorize the number, because if you're in a holding cell, there is no cell phone. I no tengo no cell phone. Ain't going to work. 210-225-2121. Our good friend Albert, his great staff, will get you out no matter where in the Lone Star State. They will also, obviously, no need to call an attorney. Do not sign a PR bond. Just call 210-225-2121. And they will get you out. Oficinas throughout San Antonio, open 24/7. The cheapest price in town. And they can work out a payment plan if you'd like. And by the way, confidentiality, mum's a word. So AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121, license number 149. Tell them you heard it right here on the Jonny Ramirez in the Morning and Mico Rodriguez podcast, the Radio Guys podcast, and they'll get you out.
All right.
Radio Rewind was kind of interesting this week because it took us all the way back to December 7 of 1992.
Oh, what a year. What a year.
What happened in that year?
Well, that's when you and I first met.
No, we met in 93.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Jeez, I thought I was the old guy that forgot stuff. Apparently not. Anyway.
It was a momentous occasion.
Hit the Radio Guys Rewind, sir. That's where
I come in, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
here we go.
All right. He's learning.
Time now for the Radio Guys Rewind, and we rewind all the way back to December 7, 1992. Coming in at number 5, Inocencia, Tarde o Temprano.
Tarde o temprano sé que encontraré un nuevo amor a quien querer.
At number 4, La Mafia, Dile.
Dile que le extraño mucho, dile que sin ella muero.
At number 3, Excelencia, Pilares de Cristal.
Y ponerlos en vidriera con pilares de cristal.
At number 2, Tierra Tejana, Prende el Radio.
Prende el radio si quieres cantar. Prende el radio.
And the number 1 song of the week, Ram Herrera, Amor y Besos.
Amor y besos de ti, yo quiero sentir, hacerte reír.
And that's been the Radio Guys Rewind for December 7, 1992.
Mira nomás, the Rambo of the Ram Herrera, number 1, back in 1994.
1992, sir.
1992?
Yeah.
No, you said 1994. Dijo 1994, ¿qué no?
It was 1992, December 7th, 1992.
Okay, and that was the year after I mentioned. All right. Okay. También, hey, you know what? There's some other awards going on this week.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. The Big Latin Grammys, where we do have, want to wish best of luck to the Best Tejano album. That is El Plan, with their album Imperfecto. Además, Gabriela with Siempre Gabriela. And then Vilax with their album Ganas Deluxe. So, felicidades. Good luck to you.
I'm still trying to figure out how El Plan and Vilax are Tejano, but hey, what do I know?
Yeah.
I'm a DJ in San Antonio. Okay,
I would
what
agree.
do I know? And by the way, also want to just give a quick shout out to all the good folks at the 44th Annual Tejano Music Awards.
Yes.
That takes place on the 22nd of this month, which is not this Friday, but the next Friday.
Cool.
At the Techport Center, and should be a great show. And it is time, gosh darn it, to bring him on.
Yes.
We've stalled long enough.
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Bring him.
Bring
I'm
him in.
excited. Haven't seen this guy since he's about this. No, you're the same height.
I'm the same height.
He's actually gained a lot of muscle since you saw him last. But ladies and gentlemen, desde el Mágico Valle, the driving force behind a band that's been making a lot of noise for a long, long time. And it says it right there on his cap in case I forget. He brought a cap that's got the name of the band in case I forget. Untoy. But Mr. Jesse Turner from Grupo Siggno. And Jess, thanks for coming by, my brother. I
Absolutely.
appreciate
Thank you,
it.
brother.
brother.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you, gracias por la invitación. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And Mico, pues yeah, I think it's just that you got your boots on. You're a little bit taller than that.
No, he's got his boots on because there's a lot of BS going to happen here tonight. So,
Awesome.
he needs
Awesome.
them boots. The higher the boots, the more BS.
Así es. Aquí vamos a sacar toda la sopa.
There you go.
Ándale.
But hey, man, really, thanks for coming out, man.
Absolutely, man.
I know you've been working hard. You were in Laredo, then you were in
Bryan last night.
Bryan,
Texas. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had an excellent show over there in Laredo, Texas. We were at the fairgrounds, and then last night we were downtown Bryan, Texas. You were telling me about a restaurant over there, and it's what, purple?
Well, the
famous W Texas.
Yeah, the
burger.
one in College Station is not burnt orange in
I didn't know
Bryan,
that.
in College Station.
I think I probably passed right by it if it was.
It wouldn't make any sense because it's a maroon.
Can we say the name
or
or no? Yeah, we can say the name. Right? It's a Whataburger.
Yeah.
I did not know that there was a purple Whataburger.
Well, it's a maroon, more
like
of
a maroon,
yeah.
a maroon color. All right.
Yeah. Do you really think that the Aggies are going to have burnt orange in their city? I
don't think so.
Okay.
I didn't
By
know
the
that.
way, I'm excited because they're back. They play this year.
They do?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the rivalry.
The
yes.
weekend of the 30th. Yeah.
Cool. Did not know
It was
that.
one of
Cool.
the biggest rivalries. But then A&M went to SEC and Texas State
Stay
at Big
behind,
12,
yeah.
and now they're both SEC. So
Ándale.
se va a
Pobrecito
poner
los-
buena la cosa.
pobrecito
I know,
los
Horns.
I know
Horns.
you're a big football fan, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
and I, NFL, baby.
Yeah. Pobrecito
Yeah.
los Aggies, but
Well, no, I was talking about the
yeah.
Texans.
Oh yeah, but this coming
Pobrecito
weekend.
los Texans, they had a first half lead, and then they just blew it last
Oh
night.
yeah, but they didn't blow it as bad as the Cowboys did last week.
But now when I say go Cowboys, I don't know.
Wow, he went there.
Oh yeah, I mean we played the same team. We almost beat them.
Well, see, the Cowboys didn't blow it. They never had it in the bag. We actually had it in the bag. The Texans did, the first half.
Well, yeah, we had it in the bag. We would have won.
We lost the bag.
Yeah, he lost it.
Being a Valley boy, I mean, I know the Valley. The Valley loves the Cowboys.
Not everybody.
Well, I mean, the
No,
majority.
no. Look, here's the thing, man. Is I like the Cowboys, but I love the Oilers. Not
Love
the
your blue.
Titans. I
Yes,
love the
love your-
Oilers.
love your blue.
Before the Cowboys, I love the Oilers. And the story behind that is, we used to live on 2 acres of land, right? And but we lived in a very poor house. I always tell my friends this story. My house, it was a very small house. It was like such the tiniest house in the world now that I think about it, and it was the poorest of the poorest that you can imagine. And when I say that, I posted a picture the other day of, I don't know why parents would always take a naked picture of when you were little, like I don't know how old I was, like a 1 or 1.5 years old, where I could already stand, and in picture time on top of the table, and in the back you could see where there's no insulation around the house. It was, and then in the middle of the house there's a fan. Like there's no AC, but in the middle there's a window that somehow there was a window inside the house, and you would press this fan and it would blow. Blow. And then we had no AC. There was no central air. It was we didn't have a restroom. We didn't have a shower. We had a shower, but we had it outside, like con la manguera. And en el tiempo de frío, when it was cold, you would warm up the water and con así arriba, mix it in with cold water to its right temperature, and we would sit in a tub with the board where you wash the clothes. And this is where we would take a shower or a bath, and the restroom was outside, which is an outhouse. It was just a hole in the ground and una casita arriba. And this is the first time I'm going to say this story. You ready for it?
Ready.
So one time, me and my sister, I hated going to the restroom at night. I mean, for me, I'm a boy.
Especially when the big daddy legs were crawling all over.
No, you have no idea where you kind of have an idea where I'm going with this. So when I was young, I remember one time, I mean, I could literally just go right outside the house and just pee, right? But in this case, my sister goes, let's go, right? And pues, whenever my sister would go to the restroom, pues those outhouses, they're old, man.
Right.
They're old and they stink, and es nomás un pozo en la tierra. And we hated going, especially at night, because you never knew what bug could crawl up your crack. And it happened to be a cockroach on my sister. She bursted running out of there. I said, man, I remember hearing all these things of ¿cómo se llama? The famous Mexican scare, el que se sube en el árbol, el tecolote, which is la llorona and all these, la lechuza.
Yeah.
And I would hear about la lechuza, and my sister took out running, boom.
And you thought that was a lechuza?
And I said,
or
oh
what?
shit, I said, la lechuza coming after me too.
It's the cockroach.
Yeah, it's a cockroach. Literally. Oh man. Anyway, salud para mi hermana Yolanda. I'm sorry about that. But these are true stories. This is where. So the reason I'm telling this story is because we literally, man, it would take us forever to cut the grass, and we barely had some grass, but when we did, it was like, it wasn't even like the nice grass. It was a grass where it has that big, if you're gonna take it out, you gotta take out that whole mushroom, and in a couple of months there will be another one there. And across the street to the right lived una señora que se llamaba Sofía Torres, and she was like my second mom, right? So we literally became really, really, really good friends. So I would walk over there. Once I was old enough, she would invite me to always have a glass of Coke, and she had AC.
Nice.
And she had not the football field kind of grass, but the other one, the one that's a little bit it's thick and it's nice grass.
Right.
And the water would come from the well from the bottom, and she had nice grass. I mean, I loved walking on it barefooted, and she wasn't even. It's not even that she was rich. She just had a better way of living than us. And I loved being over there because she had a TV that had colors. And mine was black and white, and ours was con las pinzas. You had to put those nose pliers in there, and you would have to turn the channels to be able to, and then you had to be holding the
antenna,
hanger,
rabbit ears,
to get the signal. So this is where I come from. So every Sunday we would sit down and we would watch the Houston Oilers, because she came from Houston, from Houston.
Right.
So she was into the Astros, into the Oilers, but she also loved the Cowboys. But if she had to root for one team, it was always going to be the Oilers. And I don't think they would ever meet back then. At least not that I remember. They probably did, but I don't remember. But if we did, it was usually the Oilers or the Astros over anybody. And so when growing up, she just taught me how to be a man. My dad passed when I was 7 years old. So with her, she showed me how to get on the tractor and cut the whole 2 acres of her land. And she would show me how to do things around the outside. She lived by herself, and her husband would come and go because he would work in Houston, and he would work in making swimming pools. So he had an honest living, right? Mm-hmm. But she would be there by herself the most of the time, and it was Mike and Sophia, and I would just go over there, and this is why I grew such a big love for the Houston Oilers. So
Dan Pastorini, Earl Campbell, all those names.
Ernest Givens and Warren Moon. Who can forget Warren Moon? So, I get why everybody is such a hardcore Dallas Cowboy fan. And I like to mess with them. I like to tell them, que van a perder esta semana. But at the end of the day, I always tell people, you know what I wish for? What I really want is I want the Houston Oilers to play the Dallas Cowboys in the Super Bowl because they're different. One's AFC, one's NFC. That'd be the ultimate thing for Texas. It was like the Rangers playing the Astros. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, Texas wins for me. Yeah. But if the if the Texans play the Cowboys, of course, porque ganan los Texans. Hey, you know what? You'll see this Saturday. This Friday, this Sunday.
It's this Sunday they're playing. Yeah.
You'll see.
Yeah. Regular season.
¿Quién me quiere postar o qué? Saca los números.
So órale, cómprate un pot.
Yeah, gonna buy a pot number.
He says, I don't care who wins, nomás con que salga mi 7-3. I'm good. 7-3. All right. You've been doing this for a long time. Some people may think that you're like an overnight sensation because all of a sudden you blew up here in the last 10, 15 years. But you've been doing it for a long time.
I've been doing it since, when people didn't see me, when people buy a ticket to go see Siggno, by the way, we're going to be at Stable.
The Stable.
We're going to be at the Stable for the very first time in San Antonio.
And that's on November 30th. And the Stable, in case you're wondering, aquí in San Antonio is in the Pearl District.
That's right.
And we're trying to put up the sign. That's the Thank You Veterans, but I appreciate the effort there.
Okay. Thank you. My son's a veteran. Okay. So thank you to my son. Thank you for his service.
Wait, is he already out?
He's already out.
Really?
He's still in the reserves though.
Okay.
But he's still.
Yeah. And by the way, his son was a Marine, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did 4 years.
He was in for 4 years, huh?
Did 4 years. So thank you to all the servicemen out there watching, everybody that serves in our communities, or any of you that served in any possible way. Thank you for your service. For
man, woman, it doesn't matter. There you have it, the 30th of this month. Siggno at the Stable Never
been there.
Huh?
I've never been there, but a lot of people have said that it's
a nice venue. Really nice venue. I was surprised when I heard you guys were playing there. I'm going, really? I don't think they've ever had Tejano there. Not to my knowledge. No. Unless I was out of town.
Are they going to let us in?
Huh?
Are they going to let me and you in?
No.
They say it's a nice place. So.
They have you have to have short hair and stuff like that. Anyway. But so it's the first time you're playing there?
First time we're playing there. Yeah. And you were asking, it didn't happen overnight. So what I was going to say in respect to that, right, or in conversation of talking about being at the Stable for the very first time, I started when I was 3 years old. And what you're buying, when you buy a ticket to go see Siggno, and it doesn't matter where you go see us, you're not just buying the 24 years that we've been doing this. You're buying that 3-year-old's kid, that 3-year-old's dream of starting on the drums and with pots and pans, not even owning a drum set, learning how to play drums on pots and pans because my family couldn't even afford me a drum set. I played, me decían el niño de los botes, because I would take my cans with me to the church, and the church saw how bad I really wanted to play the drums, even including my dad. I said this story one time that my dad, my biological dad, because he passed away when I was 7, I remember him carving out a mesquite tree drumsticks for me, because Harlingen was too far away from Santa Rosa.
Yeah.
And he would carve out the drumsticks for me, and he'd go, here, ten mijito, and I would break them all the time because I would just be boom, 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 hitting everything, and my mom would get after me because I would hit all of her cacerolas, and you know the things that they would make the pies on, and like I would turn them upside down, and there would be my cymbals,
Right.
and los manteca, the big lard,
El bote.
les echabas poquito de agua, and each one would sound different. I mean, I really wanted it. So one day the church bought me a drum set of different colors, and it didn't even make any sense. Like there was no bass drum. there was no bass drum. I don't even think there was a snare with no rattle in the back. And to me, I was in heaven. For the longest time, I played that drum set until I think a little bit after my dad passed away. They finally bought me a. Interesting story, fun fact. One of the very first drum sets I ever played on was on Epi Martinez's Rogers drum set. His dad was still living at that time, and I played on Epi. Epi was a kid playing drums, and he was just a couple of years older than me, but I was even more little than Epi. Epi estaba grandote. I don't think there was a moment where Epi was ever small.
I don't think so, no.
So then he let me play his drum set, so I got to jam out on his drum set, and ever since I wanted a real drum set, and I begged my mom for one until probably like I was like in, I don't know, like 11, 10, 12, and my mom bought me my first drum set, and she paid it in payments to a used drum set. It was a chrome drum set from a friend of mine from school. His name is Mico Ramirez, and then time after that, I started playing with the church band, and we would travel everywhere. And I remember somebody wanted to kind of endorse us, and somebody wanted to bless us. So we traded my drum set for that drum set, and that was a drum set I began to use for many, many years. Los Hermanos Pecinas, which is Jacob's uncle, still have that drum set. Very interesting story.
And so was that drum set blessed, though?
It was very
Okay.
blessed. It was very blessed. I got to, I mean, it took me everywhere. It took me to recording studio. It took me to see, I got to tour with Los Alegres de Harlingen, which was a Christian band. And we traveled to, I mean, you name it. We played in Mexico. I remember one time we played in Chicago, and it was downtown, and it was like a major church event. And we had a couple of songs to play, and we played in front of thousands and thousands and thousands of people. I was like, wow, like this is wild, right? And now that was like the ultimate high for me. I even got to play drum sets. I'm sorry, I even got to play the drums with Paulino Hernan. I remember he got up, we went to his McAllen Convention Center, and I remember he got up to play a few songs with us, and he got the accordion, and vámonos. We started playing.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had the honor to play with Paulino. While playing with Los Alegres de Harlingen, I got to learn how to be exactly where we're at today, which is a studio. I was just a kid, and they gave me the opportunity to, listen to this. And it's called a metronome. And what you do is you have to follow. And you have to, and the metronome is for a musician to stay in time. So any drummer will tell you that the most important thing is that you have to do your licks, and everything that you have to do has to be within this click in order for it to match, and in order for it to have color. It could be a huapango, it could be a valseada, it could be a ranchera, it could be a cumbia, but this is what I had to do. Right. So I gained my experience, but I also got to, while we were on the road, we would get bored. So I would say, hey man, pass me the bass. And like, show me how to do this and show me how to do that. And we would just share notes with each other. Right. And I learned how to play the bass. I learned how to play the guitar. I know how to play the bajo sexto. And I would just take it with me. Like all the knowledge I would get, the little that I would learn. But my least favorite instrument was the accordion.
Which is what you wind up playing now.
Which is what I winded up playing. Like sometimes I look at it, I'm like, man, I don't like you.
Love-hate relationship.
No, I don't like it. I mean,
there's no love there.
I love the accordion because people say that not me, people say that I've made my own style, and I mean, I can't disagree with them, right?
Yeah.
But my style is very simple. If you compare my knowledge to what 19-year-old Nathan Acosta knows, I mean, to the young man that we have signed to our company and that I got signed to Freddie Records, his knowledge is so expanded. It amazes me. I wish I would have known everything he knows. Like it blows my mind. Like,
And you know what blows my mind is that he taught himself how to play the accordion off YouTube.
I wish you know what?
Off of YouTube.
If I would have had that when I was young, I think that I probably would have been more interested in it. But back then there was no social media. There was no teacher.
No internet.
And I remember there was, I'm going to tell you the good side, right? The good side is the guys that I was with, which was Jacob's uncles, which is Asael, Marcos, and we would sit down and everybody was learning how to play all the instruments. And whatever they learned, they would show it to me and I would show it back, whatever I knew. It's like, and then with Felipe Pesina, we had our own little studio. And right there, we would be doing our own experience and me writing my own Christian songs. And I still remember like one of them or two. And I was just trying, and it was just about creating music. And we had no worries in the world. And that's where I started. So I remember I got out of there because being there, I had my son, Jacob. I was 14 years old, 14 years old. And I think he was born when I was either 14 or 15. I can't remember. No, I made him when I was 13 and he was born when I was 14. That's my son, Jacob. And so I could no longer play there because andaba chiflado. Era niño chiflado yo.
No te creo. I refuse to
I've
believe
heard
that.
of things like that.
And well, I started playing at another church with my other childhood friends, which was Joseph, Joel, and Richard, and Joseph Scott, Joel, and Jacob Castañeda. And we just started playing at the church. And this is where there was an accordion in the corner, and I said, okay, I'm going to grab that accordion. It was a Honor, and I really wanted to play the drum set because it had a double foot pedal. And back then, a drum set to have a double foot pedal was unheard of, but this one had it. And I'm like, man, I just want to get on there and go. It was just, pero nunca se bajaba. Jacob, the pastor's son, he would never get off. He would never give me a chance to play the drums. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'll play the bass. But no, wait, Joseph's playing the bass. Well, I'll play the guitar, but Joel's playing the guitar. I'm like, oh, man. And I'm like, you know what? I'm never going to get a chance to play. And I loved hearing how they played. Like, I loved hearing Joel play his notes in the accordion. So I'm on the guitar. So I grabbed the accordion and I just started. Hay poder, poder, sin igual poder, en Jesús que él murió. You know, I alabaré, 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 ala. And then all of a sudden, the next thing I know is like, hey, you sing. And I'm like, no, you sing. And then we're all trying to sing, but we really didn't know how to sing. And then one day I said, you know what? We need to have rehearsals. And the guy's like, we agree, man, because all of a sudden, we started seeing los hermanos, there was more people coming to church. And all of a sudden, there was we were playing some cumbias and we were watching people dance in the aisles, and they're like,
Feel the spirit.
Feel the spirit. But then I decided to do the unthinkable. I was trying to learn, so I would listen to Ramon Ayala, I would listen to Jaime Los Chamacos, I would listen to Albert Zamora. So I clearly remember doing like ran ran tan tan ran. And then when I got to the ram pam 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 and the pastor said, nope, I know what you're doing. You're playing how do you say it in English? What kind of music? Secular non-secular music.
Yeah.
He goes, you're playing un rinconcito. He goes, you need to stop playing that. And it kind of like, it like, I think they missed the point. And I wasn't trying to play un rinconcito. I was just trying to like really just make music. And doing that was, I said, you know what? A friend of mine, which recently passed away, Placido and Rick Diaz, they came by the house. And they had Los Gavilanes del Sur, which is a Harlingen Hawk high school band, and not the actual marching band. No, they made a little Tejano band, and their story is interesting. And I happened to be the new member that they heard about through our mutual friend of ours. And one day they came into that church and they sat in the back. They saw me play, and were like, "How would you like to be in a talent show?" And I'm like, I don't know, man. I got to ask my mom first to see if she'll let me. I remember asking the dumbest questions. I remember asking, I remember asking, well, wait a second, what about, again, is it against UIO, right? UIO. And I'm like, man, be quiet. It's just a talent show. It doesn't matter what school you go to. I'm like, all right, but, let's play. So I remember we won the talent show in Los Gavilanes del Sur. And then I did a couple of, maybe about a year or two with them. And we had Los Gavilanes del Sur. And then I created El Estilo. When I did El Estilo, I must have been like 16, 17. And I was really, really starting to learn some stuff on the accordion. And I wanted to be like Jaime, and I wanted to be like Albert. I didn't want to just be, I wanted to be like, I remember, I always forget his name. I remember watching the guy from Maz, and he would do all these things with the accordion. He still does it. He would just do all
Homero?
this. Homero.
Homero.
And I was just like, wow. But it was more, honestly, it was more of Jaime and Albert.
Right.
I was like, all the dance moves. I'm like, well, I didn't know you could do that with the accordion, right? But never in my mind did I still think I was going to sing. So then I said, you know what? Well, we started El Estilo there in Santa Rosa. El Estilo starts, and all of a sudden we're playing. The next thing you know is I'm the spokesperson, I'm the leader of this band, but I am not the singer. I'm just a somewhat backup vocalist, but I'm really not. And I'm also writing songs for El Estilo. And within it, I get to see Patsy Torres at my high school. And it was around that time when she performed on the day that Selena passed.
Okay.
So I'll never forget it. Like Patsy Torres was playing at our high school, and she took it really, really hard. And it was like the same in March, the ending of March, that Patsy Torres played at our school. And I was so inspired to play in concerts of Say No to Drugs.
Yes.
So then all of a sudden, when I got with Estilo, my thing was, let's go to all the schools and let's offer them El Estilo. And we went from school to school to school, and I would talk about not doing drugs. And here I was at 16, 17 years old, like already speaking to, and you need to stay away from it, and you need to be focused, and you need to remember. And the schools loved it so much that my friend's uncle, Rick Diaz, Hector Galan, came from Austin, and he created a documentary called Accordion Dreams. And that's where I come out on it. Like, I remember con los dientes todos trimados. Like, I had one tooth coming out of this side, and I'm like, oh my God.
I watched that, and I watched all those little girlies. He'd walk into the gym screaming.
Yeah, dude,
they were just like the Beatles were there. I mean, this guy was huge.
And the
old.
funniest thing about it, Johnny, is when they asked me in the interview, why are you doing? No, I get to see these kids being a kid myself. I look at it, I'm like, oh my God. Whenever anybody plays me Accordion Dreams, I'm like, oh God, stop, make it stop, please. And it's funny because now I embrace it. I look at it and I'm like, that's what you're buying when you go to the stable. That's what you're buying when you go to Halodi's. That's what you're buying when we go to Bryan. That's what you're buying when we go to Laredo. It's not just an overnight thing, man. No, it didn't happen overnight. It happened over the course of so many stories, so many years, hard work, sacrifice. I mean, you name it, theft. I mean, we've been through everything. I had a son. My son Jacob crashed. Like, I've been to literally I stood at the gates of hell, and I've been there with all this pain, and I asked God to take me back. I said, please, like, I don't want to go to hell. Like, bring me back. I get it. Like, I know what pain is.
Yeah.
Some people think that they know what pain is. Like, no, you don't know what pain is.
Mm-mm. Unless you've lost someone, or, I mean, Jacob is still here.
Absolutely.
Technically, but I mean, you lost a son that looked forward to playing with you on stage. And he was, excuse my language, he was a badass bass player, dude. I mean, the times that I saw him, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That was just, it was so beautiful to see both of you on stage, man.
It was
really
one of a kind, man. It was one of a kind. I try not to think about it. I try not to choke up about it, but it's just so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Understandable.
And everybody thinks, you get over it, but nah, man. There's a lot of things that I do, because a lot of people always ask me, how do you get past it, right? Like, how do you survive, and how do you move forward, and how do you pick yourself up? By helping others.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I think that God gave us life to serve others. I learned that from a friend of mine, Edgar. He kept saying it over. Un saludo para Edgar. My good friend Edgar, un fuerte abrazo, Herrera, there from Edinburgh, Texas. We live to serve others, and I'm just a kind, gentle person. And when I say this, like, I've done so much good that I don't even like to post it anymore, because I do too much of it, and I do it for myself.
Right.
I do it. It's like therapy for myself. I'll tell you a couple of things that I've done, like here, things that people won't ever know, and things that I sometimes don't post. There was a young girl, and she was from Kennedy, Texas, and I believe I'm not too sure. I hope I say this story right. From what I know is somebody was in a vehicle, and they didn't want to live anymore, and they crashed into mom and the daughter. I think the gentleman dies. The daughter dies, and she's 15, and they're getting ready to go see us in a couple of weeks in Kennedy. She doesn't make it. She dies on the impact. Mom survives. Mom's in ICU. They put her together, and she wants to do the daughter's service. And they reached out to me, and I said, I will be there, absolutely. So I was there at her funeral. I didn't charge them anything. I know what to say because I understand the pain, and I understand how to get past, not so much past it, but I know how to tell them, this is what you're going to go through. You're going to go through this, you're going to go through this, and there's going to be days, and there's going to be this, and there's going to be that. And you know what? I don't even know what I'm going to say.
Basically,
I don't prepare a speech. I don't know what I'm going to say.
Basically, you never get past the pain. You learn how to deal with it and manage it.
Correct.
Yeah, and you stay busy to where you don't think about it.
Exactly.
You know?
And helping others is finding my son all over again.
Yeah.
I hug them, and I feel my son.
Yeah.
I just did a service for a constable over in the valley. Every ICE agent, every sheriff, constable, DPS, trooper, everybody, all the top ranking people were there. He was just sitting in his car, and somebody just hit him and took his life. I mean,
wow.
It's just like that. And when they asked me to do something, I was there. They asked me to go sing for the children in Uvalde. I did 3 services. I only posted a little bit of one. And I posted me singing to one little girl.
I remember that, yeah.
And that was it. I didn't talk about it. I didn't say anything because I don't like for people to say, well, if you're going to be talking to... No, I don't do things I don't do things for social media. That's every once in a while me desanimo, right, with social media because people are always so ready to judge you and criticize you. And... I don't do things for the Instagram and for the Facebook. I do things because in helping and talking to people, it's also helping myself, knowing that I brought them a level of comfort, of understanding of, hey, outside of this, you're going to go to a very dark place. Let me tell you what life is and what God is. And the message is for them. Wherever I go and whatever I do, like right now, I don't know what this message is helping, if it's helping somebody, but my messages I feel are always sent to me for a reason, and it's got a reason and a purpose. And that's what my whole entire life has been about. Everything I've gone through, I've written and I've sang with my guitar. Almost every chapter of my life, from the very first song, Al Principio. That was the title of our very first album, was called Al Principio. I had to ask my mom for permission because she was Pentecostal, or I don't know, she's just Christian, period. She's non-denominational, but she's Christian. So I remember asking my mom, quiero tocar en quinceañeras y en bodas y acá me pagan. Acá me pagan $50, me pagan $80 y yo también, this is what I wanted to do, man.
But you didn't want to disappoint your mom.
I didn't want to disrespect her, and I said, me das permiso. From when I played with that high school band, sí, mijito, she just said, no, with Los Gavilanes. And she said, nomás no te pierdas. She said, as long as you don't get lost. Don't get lost and don't get caught up in the world. Don't think that you're above anybody. Don't act famous, and you'll be all right. And I said, all right. So then I said, okay.
Well, the more I learned about you, and the more I learned of your story, the things you experienced before you even 25, and I said, this guy has lived more than what a guy of 45, 50, or 60-year-old, and yet you come out, with grace, and you come out with strength, and you're helping people. And I can see where your songs, somebody's going to go through that, they can feel it, they can sing it, and your contribution is just blessings to you, brother.
Thank you so much. And having said that, the reason I talked about my mom asking her for permission, this is years later. I'm playing with Ruben Vela. I'm playing the drums with Ruben Vela. And I write a song. I still remember it. It goes, mira no más, Como se burlan todos de mí. And they had just come off their Coco Rayado album. And they needed a brand new album, and they were recording for Crown Records, and they needed original songs, and mine was one of them. And I remember that Flaco, the guy that sang Coco Rayado, he didn't want to sing it because here's this mocoso writing songs, and here's Rabbit saying, let's record it. You know, so there's Tino Sainz, which is a producer. Tino Sainz is looking at me, and Jody Metz and Mike Lathrop, and they're looking at me in the studio, and they're like, okay, well, I'll play the accordion, and let's record the drums first. Or how does it go? You know what? I think Rabbit got on the drums. He goes, and then you'll come back and you'll re-record them. I'm like, okay. So we played to a click. Da 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 da. That goes. So everybody thinks it's Ruben playing, but it's not. It was me. Ruben said, "Ay, déjalo." And I tried to imitate as much as I could Ruben, but he was Ruben Vela was irreplaceable. So while singing, I was going, pero me estoy volviendo loco, cada minuto y hora que pasa, mejor te escribo esta canción para decirte lo mucho que te amo. And they're looking at me, and then once we were done with this project, Tino Sainz comes up to me and goes, "You got any more songs?" Yeah. I go, I have them right here. I go, I have them on a cassette, and I pop them in, and then he's listening to me. He goes, "These are your songs?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "How many you got?" I go, "About 6, 7. I go, "I just gave 3 to the Desperados. I gave them, mi chiquitita vive allá en el pueblo. No quiero siempre el sol. Llegaste un minuto tarde." Those are all my songs. Mm-hmm. I don't see them on BMI, but they're my songs. Sorry.
Truth hurts.
Yeah. But where I was going with that is, I showed him to him and he said, "Hey, you got a band?" I said, "Well, I got my friends from church." He goes, "All right. Let's do something. Let's see what you got. Record me a couple of demos," and we did. We went to I remember this guy named Eloy. I don't remember his last name. We were recording in Echo Chelsea at a house, and it sounded okay, but it didn't sound tight. So when we got to the studio, we recorded the very first album in probably like in 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3 days we recorded that album, but it wasn't the guys. It was me. The drummer Jacob couldn't stay on time with the metronome, so I recorded all the drums. Joseph couldn't. He had a double this was connected. His fingers were connected,
right.
So he couldn't give me the sound on the bass. So I recorded the bass on all the tracks. On the slow song, I did the bajo sexto because there was a rock feeling that I wanted, and then I did all the accordions, and I did and it was just that. This is the way it went for like about eight albums. After that, I was recording the bajo sexto with help of other bajo players that were in my circle at that moment. They would do a couple songs, and I go, "Give me the bajo, I'll do this song, and I'll do this song, and I'll do this song. You do this one, I'll do that one." But it was mainly, everything was in my head, and everything made sense in my head. And the very first album, I did it without anybody knowing. When you open the Bible, dice, "En el principio creó los cielos y la tierra, Génesis 1:1." En el principio. So this was the beginning for Siggno. So the first album was called Al Principio. Second album was called Por Amor. Why are we doing this? For love. Third album was called Caminando. Why was it called Caminando? Because I felt that we were coming through this real tough part of our career, and I felt like we're still walking, we're still going. And then it came to a pause. Siggno was going to come to an end. All of a sudden, my stepdad passes away, and I get into this depression, and I said, "You know what? Screw this. I don't want to do no more music. I'm going to go back to college." I was going to TSTC. I graduated from high school, but then I was going to TSTC. I said, "Man, screw this. I'm going to start. I'm just going to forget this, man. I'm just going to do this last album, and I'm dedicated to my stepfather." And I did. And I remember the first song I wrote, it was called Te Extraño. Te extraño, te extraño, te extraño, te extraño. And then I wrote, que no me busque, que no me ame, que no me llame. And then I wrote, mejor dímelo. And I gave the album to Fermín Limón. Fermín Limón showed it to Freddie Records. Freddie Jr. said, "Hey, you got a hit song right here." I go, "What song is it?" It was Mejor Dímelo. It charted as number 1 for 29 weeks all over the U.S.
Wow.
And this was our very first major hit. That album was called Amor y dolor. Album number 5, capítulo 5, chapter 5. Album number 6, I said, man, we got to make a party album. That was Venía Linda Morenita and songs from Freddie Sr. And that's the one that won the Grammy. And the album number 6 was called Six Pack. Album number 7 was called En La Radio, because that's where I wanted to be heard.
Especially in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Some butthead wouldn't play you.
Not
Not gonna mention no names, right? Not gonna mention no names.
And then album number after that, it was Querías, and then after that, it just started flowing. Man, El Mundo Se Acabó.
Mm-hmm. Great album.
And then after that was after El Mundo Se Acabó. Man, I don't El Disco Zodiacal, right? And the live album, El Disco Zodiacal, and then Yo Te Esperaré.
Yeah.
And
another great album. Yeah. So back to you writing songs.
Uh-huh.
I mean, look, I'm just a dumb radio jock, okay?
You're not.
And I emphasize the word dumb, okay?
You're not.
But how does a person that cannot read music write a song? And please tell everybody the story, because I want you to bust out laughing about you being a bad little drummer, and you're in the drum line, and you're going to UIL, and you're going to represent the high school, and you're a Billy Badass on the drums.
Oh yeah, man. I was known for being the first for being the first quad player in our high school. Which is 4 drums. Santa Rosa never had a quads in their school, so I was like the first quad player, and I believe I was the first quint player as well, which is the 5 drums. But I started off in baritone, and I knew how to read baritone, but I'm like, man, this sucks. I don't want to play baritone. It sucked. So while the high school band was playing for game day, I was in 6th grade. I was watching, and when there was an extra snare available, I would start playing, and the band director noticed me like that. And I was in the marching band since 7th grade. I marched with them 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. I went to so many competitions, and I don't like, this is the only time I'll tell you, I was a beast on those, whatever it was, snare, the tries or the quads or the quints, and I would make up my own cadences that they still play today in Santa Rosa. They still play some of my cadences all over. They've messed them up. I don't no. They've changed them. They've changed them up a bit. But I remember making cadences for our drum line, and whenever we would do solos, I would go off. So I was telling Jonny that I'll never forget that. They would give us the music, and they would give us the music sheet, and they're like, go home and go learn it. And we're like, okay. So by the time it was the middle of the year, I would never get to play during the second half of the football season because I would fail. Always. I was always failing. Always. Nunca fallaba. And they're like, you're not going with us to UIO? I'm like, no. Like, I failed my math, my English class.
And not because he isn't smart. Maybe a tad lazy when it comes to studying and doing homework?
No. I'll be the first one to tell you this story that nobody knows. I remember one time I had a Marine, ex-Marine, or U.S. Army. But thank you to all the veterans. Had Mr. Lawrence and Williams as a English teacher, and that was actually my best subject. But they were like super, like if you didn't cross your T's, if you didn't dot your I's, you had to rewrite the whole essay. And I remember my very first time that I walked into class, and he said something to me, and I was always just a funny guy. I was just always a funny guy at school. And I remember he told me, he goes, what are you? He goes, an idiot stick? He said that. He goes, what are you, an idiot stick? And I said, well, if I'm an idiot stick, then you must be the idiot tree. And he turned red. He took me outside, and he gave me a Marine, like this can't be done today. Like, I can't even say what he said. I won't repeat it because I love the guy, because I value even the bad. So I was failing every year. I was failing. It was. I'm not gonna say it was personal, but he made it extra hard for me. And I was like, I don't care. Like I'm gonna make it in music anyways. I don't care. I don't need school. But I did, and I knew everything he was teaching. I knew, and I was always paying attention, and I always knew what I was doing. The only so one time I actually passed. So I got to march with the band. I got to do everything, and in doing so, it was a UIL competition of where you have to walk into it was like there was rooms, and anybody that's in band knows that they take you and you're thinking you're gonna play together as a band and you're gonna play something that you learn. I'm nonchalant, like I don't know where we're going or what. I wouldn't even ask. So prior to this, I told them that they would give me the music, and I would throw the music, and I would just listen to the tape. I would learn everything like drumline, kind of like drumline. Uh-huh. I knew everything. I would listen to it over and over, and I would be practicing at my house, and I would even do it like this, and I would even throw the stick, and I was just a little show off, but it was all through hearing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when we get to this UIO competition, and I believe it was in McAllen, at the McAllen Convention Center, and everybody had a section, and I walked in, and I'm like, what are we gonna do here? They're gonna give you a music sheet, and you have to play. You have to play what's on the music sheet, on the music sheet, on the music sheet, and I'm like, and my band director goes, why? And I'm like, no reason. And I'm like, damn. I'm like, I just hope this doesn't get back to my band director, Mr. Aldape and Mr. Ramirez. They put the music in front of me. No, hombre, que me avienta un pinche drum solo. I didn't even know what the hell was on it. I had no idea what was on that sheet. I just I just imagined whatever I was seeing. It could have been a slow song for all I know. It could have been a silent count for all I know. You know. Que no rest ni que chingada. Oye, pues I get out of there and we get the results in, like I guess later on. And give me a sheet there. Give me one of those. And the band director's like, Jesse, come into my office. And I'm like, oh man, please don't kick me out of band. Like, please don't kick me. Like, this is my life. Like, the high school band is my life. Please don't kick. Like, in my head, like, please. Quería llorar, Johnny. I wanted to cry, man. I was so scared. I was more scared of that than the principal. So he goes, what did you play? And I said, a badass drum solo.
Good answer.
He goes, didn't you read what was on the score sheet? And I'm like, Mr. Aldape, I don't know how to read music. It's, how do you play all these songs? And I go from my heart. Get out of here. Get out of here. I go, am I going to get kicked out of band? He goes, no, just get out. He goes, this is nuts. He said, this is nuts. But it was the truth.
He was hoping you'd going to be the ace in the hole.
He was hoping I'd get probably like a scholarship. Because if I knew how to read it, I probably would have done something with it. Because I really was like really into it, man. I no matter what they gave me to listen to, I would listen and I would learn it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. That's just one story. I remember one time I got into a fight at school. And I'm going to tell you a story that nobody's heard. So this is a famous, I don't remember what it was. If it was either, what do you call those? It's not the deer. What do they kill to hang on the wall?
Elk?
No. If it's not the deer, it's a male one.
The buck?
The buck. I'm sorry. It's because I'm clueless to. It was either a buck, or I believe he had some kind of wildcat or something. Okay. And I remember. I'm not gonna say his name for whatever reason, but I walked into his office. I was gonna get spanked. I believe his paddle had holes in it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Some couple of holes, and it's just all to mess with your head.
No, they make it. It makes the paddle aerodynamic.
Oh, be quiet! It doesn't do anything.
It really does. It really does. Yes.
Man, I looked at that paddle and I'm like, ya me estaban ardiendo las nalgas. I'm like, man. And I was like, I've never been paddled. Like, I've never been, not even by my parents have I been spanked. And then I remember he goes, just like this, you can see me, right? He goes, all right. He goes, put your hands right there over on the top of the day. He goes, you have anything to say? I go, I'm sorry. No. You're gonna get ISS, and you're gonna miss a couple of days of school, and then you're gonna be an ISS. Like, all right. So he goes, all right. He goes, put your hands on the
desk.
On the desk. And I'm like this. I don't remember if I propped my pants down. I don't think it was proper. I don't think I did. I think he told me to pick up my shirt. I tucked it in. And he goes, are you ready for this? This is the craziest story. A lot of people from Santa Rosa, they know this is a true story because they all went through it. He goes, look at that buck up there. And I just looked up at the buck. And chingazo. And he goes, like 3 of them.
Uh-huh.
And then he comes around and goes, like he was high. It was just like, like he was on adrenaline or something. And he goes, tell me something, son. And I said, yeah. And I thought, he goes, did the buck blink at you? And I said, no. He goes, all right. He comes back. Oh. Juaz. And he came to the front. He goes, did that buck blink? He goes, oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
3 times.
Yeah, blink every single time. Hey, so the funny story is I saw him not that long at Home Depot. Uh-huh. And I go, hey, Mr., was it me or what did you have in the wall when you spanked me? He goes, was it a buck? He goes, oh, it was the bobcat. He goes, did you ask me if it blinked? He goes, I sure did. True story, man.
That's
These are
funny.
True story. Yeah, the true stories. It's a true story.
That is funny.
But man, how those times have changed and how I miss them.
Well, and they created what we have before us, you know. And you are basically the driving force of Siggno. Mm-hmm. And you've had, for the longest time, it was pretty much the same group. Here recently, you've had members come in and out, which I think, would you say that every new member that comes in brings something better than the old member? No disrespect to the old members, obviously, because they were there for a long time.
I think they all bring their story.
Okay.
Which is more important than anything else. Because is there different skill levels? Absolutely.
Right.
But they all bring their musical story with them to the table. Like Richard. He came from playing with Potente. He came from playing with Increíble when Jody Farias had all those hit songs.
Yeah.
And he brings his engineering experience. He brings so much to the table. After Richard, there was Checo. He brings his DJ vibes and his DJ skills to Siggno, which he never knew he was going to.
That's what you call him, skills. Okay.
Yeah, because
no. When it comes to DJ, I call him pendejadas, but skills work. Okay. I like that word better. Okay.
Well, I think that Checo brings something better than a lot of MCs.
He brings a lot of fun to the band. That's for damn sure.
He brings a lot of joy, and whatever you get on stage, you get it inside the bus, and it's pure laughter, like 100% laughter. So everybody matters, right? And then there's let me see. It doesn't matter what musician you ask me about. It doesn't matter if you ask me about Joy Jimenez. Joy Jimenez, he's just a monster. He brought all his journey of Cumbia All-Stars and the Excelencia. Yeah. He brings everything that he knows, and he brought it here with Siggno, and we made something together. Yeah. He enhanced Siggno, and we've tried, to keep everything the way we recorded it or the way he played it. It's like, hey, this is the level that he set it at. This is where it's going to stay at. Yeah. And Chato has kept it exactly where it's at. He comes from Cachorros, from Control. Ruben on the bass. He didn't even know how to play rock or like a power ballad. Mm-hmm. But being with Siggno, it's like, I'm going to learn. We're going to learn. We're going to learn together, right? And there was a lot of things that I didn't know either until each one of these individuals showed me how to do it. Richard showed me how to do certain things on my voice. Richard had patience when I was recording. Checo was the friend that I needed when I couldn't laugh and for when I was down as possibly I could be. Yeah. George was not only is he an amazing friend, but the guy just has skills that people don't see. He drives. Besides the fact that he drives, he's just he'll cook for us. He'll fix the bus. Him and Richard. Everybody is such an important piece. Chato just brings my son's vibe, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Along with Nathan. Nathan's currently touring with us, so he brings that magic, that laughter, that vibe, and you see little girls all of a sudden again. And I'm not saying, I just mean at our shows, it was always starting to get a little bit older crowd, and then Nathan comes, it's like, okay, now we're seeing all the younger generation
reminding you of when you started. Yeah.
Reminded me of when I started.
And so, for those of you that don't know, JT Entertainment is Jesse Turner Entertainment, and started that. How long you been having that?
Well, eventually, I mean, it all started with two individuals. It started maybe about a year ago, and it started there. It started with the idea,
right?
And we started helping Lucky, and I didn't want to be a part of it, but I was, because I was an owner, right? So I had to do it, and I'm like, for all of last year or the year before that, I wasn't even worried about anything, because I'm like, you know what? I'm worried about Siggno.
Right.
So I went to go sign with another agency, which was Victor Hugo, and he had Frontera at the time. He had Grupo Frontera at the time. And I was promised these things, and I get it. Like, I don't even think he understood what he had, with all due respect. Like,
right.
Un saludo, ¿verdad? I say it with love. I don't even think then. And he was kind of neglecting everybody else, at least for us. And it was just like from 1 week to the next, you're going over there, and we would go y tronábamos. So all of a sudden, the recordings, everything just came to a stop. And this is where we had a big downfall. And then other things, within that happening, a lot of negative things happened. I had to change management. There was change of friends. There was a lot of things that happened.
Record label.
Yeah. There was a lot of changes, but in that change came Nathan Acosta. I said, you know what? I believe in him. I don't know. There's just something about him. I invited him to a show at downtown by the Alamo Dome, where you used to have the events outside. What is it called?
Sunset.
Yes.
Sunset.
We played at Sunset. We played at Sunset, and I told him to come over. I didn't even give him a chance to play because our set was quick. But after that, we went to the hotel. We sat in the lobby, and I remember asking him all the hardcore questions, which is, why did you run away? And he looked at me like, man, that's the first question right out of the gate. I'm like, yeah. I go, before you answer me, let me tell you my story. I tried to kill myself. I tried to do this. I hurt my mom. I did this, but you know what? I was able to recover. I wrote Auxilio. I wrote Traté de Olvidarte. Music was my therapy, and I finished with that. By the time he knew it, he was crying. I was crying.
So there's parallels between you and him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he played we were playing together in Fort Worth, and he had the crowd going like you wouldn't believe. It was an incredible sight. Yeah. And he only had his first single, which was called Solo, which I had the privilege to write with my good friend Wences Romo. And we wrote the song, and it was for him, and it was his story. And I even made the music video about his story, about him running away. I made it all about him. And we started looking for other songs. And in the meantime, he had this single, and here I take him to Freddie Records, to the place where I started, where success really started. Right. I take him to Freddie Records. He has his first record deal with a prestige record
before
company.
He graduates high school.
Before he graduates high school, get him signed. Freddie knew that this is like a Jesse Turner 2.0, like a 3.0 or 5.0 or whatever upgrade you want to make it. This kid is a better version of myself, and playing wise and skill wise. Like, it's hard to find kids that really want to play this style and want to stick to it. So when we were playing in Fort Worth, Dios te regala momentos. God will give you certain times, in moments, if you allow him to sink into your heart. I say this because a lot of people that deal with death, they think that people are gone forever, and they think that, like for me, like I know my son's he's not here nor there. My son is just in limbo. That's what I call it. Because my son doesn't know who I am. My son doesn't know who he is. And I know his mom will say that sometimes he might have a connection with God for her, but the science behind it is just so hard to sit here and explain. I've spoken to doctors,
Right.
neurosurgeons, you name it.
Right.
And I'm good with God. You know, it's hard to see my son, but I get it. Right? Where was I at? What was I
the
about?
moment in
in Fort Worth.
Fort Worth, yes. Nathan's moment.
He's playing Song from Intocable. I can't remember the name of the song, but it was a slow ballad. It was a slow ballad, and he's singing it, and everybody in the crowd is singing it. And I just turned around and I looked, and in my head I see Jacob playing. I said, "Man, my son would have been perfect with Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
This would have been his next step. They would have made a perfect band. This is where I would have separated him from Siggno, and I would have told him, this is the kid you're gonna manage, you're gonna take over." And I let it all out without anybody knowing. I let it all out because I said, "Man, I wish my son was here."
Yeah.
But I said, "But thank you, God, because I'm able to enjoy his success, and I take it as a positive thing. Everything that's negative, I always turn it into a positive, no matter what happens." And I'm very genuine and very sincere with it. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
That's it. You're good. Breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe.
I am as real and as sincere as I can possibly be. Does it hurt? Yeah, it hurts. Mm-hmm. But you have a choice in life, and this is what I always say. You have a choice in life. You either stay down or you get up. And you choose to live for yourself, remembering anybody that's not here with you anymore, or anybody that can't be there with you. You got to spiritually carry them with you. Like I carry my dad with me. He died when I was 7.
Yeah.
Can't tell you a lot about him, but I know he's with me because his DNA runs through me. Just like my son carries my DNA. And my boy, Mico. So I'm extremely proud of all the things that we've done. I'm grateful for the moments that God gives me with people. I even thank him for the negative things. It's been a month ago. I mean, they told me, "Hey, they stole all your equipment."
Yeah.
They stole all your equipment, Jesse.
And your merch.
And like $18,000 worth of merch.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just sitting there like, okay. It's hard for it to make me cry when you've been through these other things.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard for it to make me cry, but does it hurt? It hurts. It financially breaks you.
Yeah.
And these people that are just looking at you, they just think, "Oh, he's got that money in the bank." There's a difference between money in the bank for Siggno and money in the bank for Jesse Turner. There's two different identities here. If I take out all my money that I have over here, I will go broke, and now I'm risking everything. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. I know the next question is there any updates? No updates. All I know is that, I left it in the hands of the San Antonio Police Department. What do we know? I don't know anything.
Actually, I wasn't going to ask that. I was going to ask, are you going to buy more equipment, being as how a lot of the bigger bands no longer believe in buying their own equipment because it's expensive, it can get stolen, and in 2-3 years it's outdated, much like laptops and computers are. So are you going to make that investment again, or are you just going to go the way of a lot of bands and just say, "Hey,
No, I want to
plug and play"?
Nope, I want to carry my own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to carry my own stuff. A lot of people ask me, why didn't you make a GoFund? Porque me da pena.
Yeah.
Me da pena, me da vergüenza.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'm at the point now where here in the next couple of days, I don't have an option anymore. I'm gonna have to ask for your help. I'm gonna have to ask for people's help on radio. Everybody that I know, I'm gonna have to ask them for help. They asked me, did we have insurance? We had insurance through U-Haul, but guess what? Since we didn't read the fine print, U-Haul doesn't. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, by the way.
Right.
It's our fault.
Insurance companies never lose money, dude. So leave it at that, okay?
Yeah. So we didn't read the fine print, which is if it's stolen, you're responsible for it.
Yeah. Wow.
So, somebody had to hit us and it'd all be broken into pieces for them to pay for it. And that's really it.
Yeah.
There's no recovering. So I'm at the point where, like, I've been waiting. I don't, everybody was asking me, make a GoFund and get, dude, we'll help you, we'll pitch in. You've done so much good. And I'm like, nah, man. I go, it's only been a week. I go,
Right.
let the investigator. I'm giving the investigators an opportunity for them to figure something out, because there's cameras, there was witnesses, there's stuff that I don't even know about, but I don't have any information, zero, right? And by all means, I leave that up to them. Whatever they're doing, I hope it works. But if over a month, it's gone. It's gone. I'm not gonna find it. I'm not gonna find my stuff.
And the show's got to go on.
And the show's got to go. The show's got to go on, and we still got to pay for it.
Yep. Aye.
So my next step is here in a couple of days. I'm going to make a GoFund. I'm hoping that if you're watching this, that you'll.
So are you renting equipment in the meantime?
No,
for shows?
man. I let me look it up here real quick. It's called. Hold on.
All right. You got it. Take it
Because,
down.
you had screens and you had everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ahí te va.
I'm going to go back to a concert you played.
It's called LG Production and Entertainment. They're lending us their all their stuff every weekend,
Okay.
free of charge. And I just want to thank them. Again, it's LG Production and Entertainment. I want to thank you. Haven't personally even met them, but I want to say thank you for offering your equipment and your screens to us. This is how God works.
Yeah.
Where are they based out of?
San Antonio.
San Antonio, LNG.
So I know that one of the reasons why you went out and bought your own screens and everything, and
Because every show needs to be the same, Johnny.
right, no, but in the very beginning, I remember somebody else was headlining and you asked for their screens and they said no. I guess my question is does that pettiness still exist in Nuestra Música?
No, I actually understand it. I get it now. It's business.
Yep.
Why? Because, and this is for the bands that are starting, that are wondering, because sometimes we have to do it to them. And it's not that we're doing it on purpose. So this is a 101 on why it happens. Ahí te viene. This is what happens. You have engineers.
Mm-hmm.
You have the soundboard engineer, you have the light engineer, you have the screen engineer, and then you have the monitor guy. Okay? Whenever another band opens up for you, all of a sudden they want to get paid for doing them as well. Hey, I came here to mix Siggno, not to mix the opening band.
Mm-hmm.
And they just have standards.
Right.
So it's like, if they play, I have to pay for them. Siggno has to pay for our engineers to work for. It could be whoever.
Right.
It could be any band. It could even be a J. Perez, Gary Hobbs. It's like, nah, man. Like, arregla con ellos. Like, hey, my guys are there. Ahí está el equipo, pero arregla tú con ellos, because now it's a business.
Right.
And I didn't understand that back then. Back then, I remember they only, 2 lights. And no screen, no nothing. And I said, damn, pues vamos a darle. Me agüitaba bien gacho, and I knew, like, it was not a cool feeling. And bands that are under our company, I'll figure it out. I'll tell Lucky, hey, Lucky, súbete y I'll talk to the guys. Hey, tan abajo la compañía, échame la mano. Or when it's necessary to make the show happen, they'll understand. But most of the time, it's always just business, man.
Yep.
At the end of the day, it's business. And I never saw it like that when I was chavalón. But did they? I remember one time I looked at an engineer and I said, like, I was playing the accordion and I'm like, okay, súbele mi acordeón, y le hace. Those were the engineers, the old engineers, La Tropa F. Sorry, guys. I love you guys. They know I love them. I love them.
No,
But they were hardcore back in the days, man. I love them. I still love them. One of the very first musicians that always lent us all his stuff and turned on everything for us was Mico Salgado. I got to give him props for that, man.
Yeah.
Salud para Mico Salgado, man. He would always lend us his stuff. Los Palominos would also lend us all their stuff, and I gotta give them their flowers, or I gotta give them their recognition for. There was bands that did lend us everything, man. Every time that we jam with them, and it was just it's cool, man. Every time that we would get that, so you know, every once in a while, my guys, if the light engineer's not done programming his lights, the opening act gets a free show.
Well, see, I always wondered, because you'd hear the opening band, they're using the same sound system, the same speakers, but they sound kind of, kind of garbled, kind of mumble jumble.
Well,
then all of a sudden the headliner comes on and it's crystal clear and nice and loud. I'm going.
Well, I've seen that. They say, yeah, they can play, but just don't move any of the knobs. Don't touch the knobs.
The thing is that there is a difference, and Gilbert will be the first one to tell you. Not every drummer that walks in here plays the same, right?
Yeah, you got that right.
Yeah, there's drummers that play super loud and play at level 10 drums, and then you need for them to play at level 5, 6, and it's like they're banging the crap out of that drum set, and it doesn't make any sense for the engineer outside. So he's either got to lower it, or somebody doesn't know how to sing, so you got to lower all the other instruments so the vocals can pierce through. Because
I've never recorded anybody like that.
Gilbert will be the first one to tell you, man, that cada músico es diferente and every band's different. And for us, we have a kind of like a rock sound. Like we need to play with this at this level, with this energy, and this is what we bring. And our engineers are Anthony and Jesus, they already know what we sound like.
Hence the term rockteño.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not even rockteño, bro. It's at the end of the day, we're a branch of Tejano, period.
Yeah.
We're Tejano, period. We're born in Texas raised. We de aquí somos.
You're preaching to the choir. We understand
no,
that. We get
that.
I know, but look, man, sinceramente, I think what needs to happen is the older folks need to open up their mind when it comes to music. And for the longest time at the beginning, I would tell everybody to walk in there, why do you call your music Tejano? Because we're in Texas. But what if you want to play in New Mexico? What if you want to play in Vegas or wherever? Those people are just as proud of their music as we are of ours. So but
ours is better.
I'm with you there,
Touché,
brother.
brother.
But my point is, when you say Tejano, you're restricting it to the borders of Texas,
Yeah, but you know what? People over there outside of Texas, they love Tejano music.
Yeah.
And
Some
they play.
do.
I haven't met anybody around here playing New Mexican music. So, and people in New Mexico, they love this stuff.
Yeah.
The thing with me is for me, like ask me, why do I feel that I'm Tejano, right? Because everything that I learned was from Tejano bands.
Yeah.
Right? Joe Lopez, Grupo Más, Emilio, La Mafia. These were the bands that
Tropa F.
Grupo Intocable, los inicios de Intocable.
David Lee
Garza, and they're all my friends today. Like, I've shared the stage with them. Gary Hobbs, like, this is the music that I grew up listening to. The Hometown Boys. I mean, I got to meet them. I got to jam with them. All the conjunto pioneers, Gilberto Pérez, Bernardo y sus compadres, Rubén Vela y su conjunto, los dos Gilbertos. I got to see more of them in my youth than anybody else.
So you have this weird thing that if somebody is playing not far from where you're playing, doesn't matter what the band is, you'll make it a point to try and get them to come to your show, or you go to their show, because you want to perform alongside them. You've done it so many times.
All the time.
Yeah.
We just played in Florida, and we played together. I think Gary, it was Gary Hobbs. Gary went right before us, and I was standing there, and I have a video of him. I haven't uploaded it yet. And I tell him, hey, man, I go, un saludo para toda la raza. Aquí estoy con mi papá. Because he has colored eyes. He has colored eyes.
Colored,
I go,
yeah.
He has colored eyes, and I have colored eyes. And he goes, Dad. And he goes, mijo. And we're just... And I tell him, hey, come sing a song with us. And he's like, absolutely, man. So we did Te Vas a Acordar de Mí. I make it a point to make everybody, I give everybody their place. Los Palominos. I love Palominos. I love Oscar from La Mafia. La Tropa de David Farias. I give any time that I play with anybody, I want to learn one song to be able to share that night with them. It doesn't matter who it is.
And there's one guy that wouldn't do it, and for years he won't tell me who the hell it was.
Oh, stop that.
Entre nos son más aquí. No, nobody.
Stop that.
He's not going to tell me. He hadn't told me.
No,
in
you know
years.
what? We actually got a messenger in between, and I told him, hey man, tell him that I said I love him. I said, hey man, I'm nothing but respect. This is just that I'm a very quiet guy, and I said, cool man, maybe next time. Yeah, man, maybe next time.
Okay.
So it's all that is if you don't know a person, I get it, man. But sometimes it's just that I always want to give the light to whoever's playing with us, before us, or after. I didn't get to see Joe last night, Joe Lopez. But when I was getting off stage, Brando, right? Mm-hmm. Brando me says, "Aeri hoy?" And I'm like, just call me up, baby. Just call me up.
Because you did a song with them, right?
Yeah, just like Jimmy would call me up and he would say, come up and sing same song, Aeri hoy, or No te olvidaré. And that's it, man. These are moments that are gonna go with me to my grave. You know, I got to sing with Jimmy Gonzalez. I got to sing first, and he got to sing second. We got to share, and I miss people like him.
Yeah,
I miss Emilio. I remember the last time I saw Emilio Navaira. We saw each other. We were playing together in Beeville, and God, it's a weird story, right? But he had already recovered and stuff, and he comes out of the bus, hey, mijo, and he smelled like alcohol. I'm like, God, Emilio, I go, te doy un abrazo, vente pa acá, cabrón. Like, hey, how are you, man? Hey, I just want to let you know that I love you, man. And he goes, I love you too, mijo, I love you too. And then he got on stage. And then a couple of years later, he passed.
yeah.
So it was, when his funeral happened, that's why I was there. That's why when Paulino died, I didn't have to make the trip from Los Angeles, but I made the trip because I felt that I needed to be there. When Paulino passed away, I found Oscar and Mondo
yeah.
on the plane.
Yeah.
Headed to the same place.
Yeah, well, Mondo had produced his Latin Grammy nominated album, the last one.
We talked about it. We talked about it at my house.
Yeah.
And we actually, Mondo played Un Día a la Vez on the accordion, and I played it in the bajo, and I sang it. And Oscar recorded it. It's like, these are things. Oh, you want to hear an interesting story? Boy, do I got an interesting story for you. Well, I didn't know, and I say this with all love in the world. Like, I didn't know that they didn't, like, these two people wouldn't talk, right? But we go to Paulino's service, and within that service, the first night it was me, Mondo, and Oscar. Javier Galvan was there, and we're all sitting there, and we're all watching just the service go through, right? And then when we're done, we all go eat, and we meet with Lalo and Elida, and we're all with Javier Galvan. And we're all sitting at a sushi place, and we're all just talking about just good old times, and just talking about different subjects, and talking about Paulino, and just different things, right? So then the next day, we go to this. We had to get to the service early because they didn't find anywhere for us to sit. Like, we're all friends with Paulino, and I'm not saying that we want any special treatment,
right?
But we were all just standing there, and it was just everybody kind of kept coming up to us, and it was weird because it was at a church. So this time they made sure to sit us kind of like in the second row. So we all sat down together. So I'm like, hey, Oscar, where are you? He goes, I'm in the second row. So I go and I sit down with Oscar and Mondo and everybody, and we're sitting there. And Oscar goes, hey man, I'll go with you. I'm like, okay, let's go. And Mondo was driving with somebody else. So they had a rental. He goes, I'll go with you in the truck. I'm like, let's go. So we're talking, and how have you been, man? No, okay, there's just talking, just things that are between me and Oscar, just funny stuff, like stories. So we finally get to the burial site of where they're gonna bury Paul. We get there when everybody already got there. And then so I'm like, I'm short, bro. You got it right. So it doesn't look like I'm short, but I'm trying. There's a lot of tall people there, and I'm trying to look, and I'm like, I'm trying to, and then I feel somebody grab my hand from the front, and they just pull me, and I just grab Oscar. I grab Oscar de la Rosa with me, and I bring him with me. He goes, come on. And they put us right, like his casket's right there, and me and Oscar are here. And I just look, and I said, thank you, right? I said, thank you. And she goes, you're welcome. Right?
Who was it?
Wait. And she says, thank you. And I'm like, I said, no, I said, thank you. She goes, you're welcome. And then she goes like this to me. I'm like, yeah, I really didn't recognize, didn't anything. So then me and Oscar, we're not even paying. We're just looking forward, and they're talking. And gracias, Señor, por este hombre, and just they're praying for Paulino, you know, for his despedida, and then there's a moment where I guess there's just pure silence, and everybody, they're playing music or something. And I said, hey, I tell Oscar, hey, take a picture of me. He goes, okay, go here. So I give him my phone, and he takes a picture of me. I go, come on, take a picture with me. I tell Oscar, take a picture with me. And Oscar comes and he takes a picture of me. He goes, hold on, let me get in it. So when he comes and I'm here like this, and I'm standing with both of them, I'm like, what the hell? Pues no está Joe Lopez to my right and Oscar to my left.
Okay, that is the story.
And
they don't talk to each other.
You know what? They said hello to each other there, but it was...
They were amicable.
I'm like, I didn't know anything prior to this. But I have the photo, and it's gonna go with me. It's gonna go with me. The only place you can see it is at my house. Or I want a 200,000 equipment. I don't think that. No. I'm just kidding.
There was a point in time in the '80s where every mano a mano that was of major, big time was La Mafia. La Mafia and Mas.
I can't believe
it's that kind of rivalry still exists between them.
No such thing exists. I don't think that exists anymore. We had a discussion about it, and there was private things that were nothing bad. It was just simply, I think it threw Oscar for a curve, and it threw me for a curve because it threw him for a curve, and Joe was like, oh, cool as a cucumber. Like, he was so happy, and we're like happy there. I'm like, and here I am in the middle, and I'm like, I go, and I tell Oscar, man, this photo, I'm gonna blow it up and put it in my living room.
There you go. All right. Well, listen, again, thank you so much for stopping by.
Absolutely, man.
Get you ready here, do a couple of numbers for the folks. And once again, the Radio Guys podcast being brought to you as a service of AA Best Bail Bonds. If you do get in trouble, folks, no problem. Call our good friend Albert, his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds. Text the word bail to 474747, or you can start the bonding process online at mybestbailbonds.com. Now, no need to call an attorney. No need to, just don't worry about it. Just dial this number, 210-225-2121, 210-225-2121. Free shuttle service. Nobody beats their price. Payment plans are available. And yes, discretion, the name of the game. So whether it's you, a family member, a friend, 210-225-2121, AA Best Bail Bonds. Tell them you heard it right here on the Radio Guys podcast.
All right.
Hit it.
And here we go with this week's Recordando Nuestras Raíces.
Recordando Nuestras Raíces, where this week we shine a spotlight on El Indio Isidro Lopez, born in Bishop, Texas on May 15, 1933, to a working-class family. He grew up in a two-room house, hit cotton as a youngster, graduated from high school, and studied for 1 year at Texas A&I in Kingsville, now known as Texas A&M University, Kingsville. The moniker El Indio, which became a standard way of referring to Isidro, was derived from the Mescalero Apache background of one of his parents.
Lopez learned to play guitar from an uncle when he was 12 years old, and he took up the alto sax and clarinet in high school. He also received instruction from orquesta musicians such as Tony Ornelas and Mike Cuesta, who lived in nearby Corpus Christi. From his earliest days as a músico, Lopez valued both the conjunto and orquesta traditions, considering them equally important. As a young man, he played with the father of conjunto music, Narciso Martinez, and also gained professional experience playing with the orquestas of Eugenio Gutiérrez, Juan Colorado, and Valde González.
Fue tan solo una emoción pasajera que me quiero de tu lado partir.
Isidro Lopez started his own Orquesta Tejana around 1955. With his saxophone playing ability and singing talent, he soon established himself as a highly regarded member of the Tex-Mex music industry. As a recording artist for Ideal Records, Lopez recorded more than 60 singles and 8 albums. The unique musical style he created, including the ranchero sound of the Mexican mariachi tradition, blended with the orchestra tradition established by Beto Villa. Lopez labeled his range of styles Texachi, which combines combine the words Texas with mariachi. Early on, Lopez recorded such popular songs as Emoción Pasajera and Sufriendo y Penando. He also recorded Mala Cara, which was a combination of ranchero rock music, adding to his reputation as an innovative musician. By 1960, he was considered the top band leader of his era.
Ando sufriendo y penando, pero por amor a...
For approximately 20 years, Isidro Lopez and his orquesta maintained a busy recording and performing schedule. The group's additions of jazz and Cuban boleros and Lopez's great singing help ensure that his orquesta ushered in contemporary music, commonly referred to after 1960 as the Tex-Mex sound. His addition of accordion, rock and roll, polkas, and mariachi to his orchestra, along with his commitment to the ranchero sound, clearly made him a pioneer of the Tex-Mex musical tradition.
Es por eso que te llamo mala cara, cada vez que te miro al pasar.
His status diminished somewhat with the rise of Little Joe Hernandez and the Latineers, and Sonny Osuna and the Sunliners, two of the top Tex-Mex tradition musicians. Nevertheless, Lopez's place as a musical innovator had already been established. In later years, he received accolades for his contributions to the state's musical heritage. He was an inductee into the Tejano Music Awards Hall of Fame in 1983 and into the Tejano Roots Hall of Fame in 2001. In 2002, Texas Governor Rick Perry honored him with the Tejano Music Awards Lifetime Achievement Award. Today, we're proud to feature and remember El Indio Isidro Lopez on the Radio Guys, recordando nuestras raíces.
Oh, that was so much fun with Isidro Lopez. Tell you what, this right now we're going to introduce our live in-person studio
Well,
guest.
we should mention that
yeah.
it's Leon Equipment that loans out the equipment to Jesse.
Thank you to Leon.
Leon.
LG Productions and everything.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So,
Gracias. Thank you.
Leon,
Thank you.
appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, boys got to pay the bills, so thanks for the loan of the equipment.
May God multiply your blessings, and thank you to everybody that's watching tonight. Everybody, we hope that my story has touched you or has helped you in some form or in some way, and if not, I hope you help me.
All right.
Absolutely. And for that GoFundMe, once it transpires, keep us posted.
I know I got everybody's support, but I don't know, Johnny, what do you want to hear?
So, funny story. I had heard of Siggno, and I knew that we're blowing up around the smaller towns around San Antonio. He was trying to get into San Antonio. Obviously, the radio station you and I work for.
Right.
When you left because you wanted to be a big program director.
What?
They gave me the job. I really didn't want the job. And when you work corporate radio, you have to keep the rating numbers up.
Yes.
The ratings equals revenue means everybody keeps their job. So,
Yes.
I was
that.
trying to find a song, from Turner and Siggno to play on the radio. And all of a sudden they release Juntos Hasta Morir. And I'm going, now we got to play a record. We got to play a record because we kind of were playing light, the one that he recorded with Jonny from Los Palominos.
I remember that one.
And I was like, so I went to see a show. It was him, it was Elida and AJ, I believe. And I was, so he comes up, I say, hey, Jess, hey, man, I got a new song I want you to hear. I said, okay, sure. So he gets up, and as soon as he's done, he comes find me, and I go to meet him there, and he goes, you hear the song? I said, is it the one with the Richard Marx hook? I wrote it, not Richard Marx hook. Whoa. I said, look, man, artists take creative,
their creative process.
They get
very
creative,
seriously.
and they use little hooks here and there, but it starts off with a little Richard Marx hook. But it turned out to be a great song for him. It opened up the avenue of KXTN, and then other Tejano stations started banging his music. So that blew him up. But it all started with Juntos Hasta Morir, which even wasn't supposed to be him recording that song. Yeah, it should have been Oscar from La Mafia. But, things happen. It's kind of like Emilio and Selena. That wasn't supposed to be Emilio either.
Right.
Yeah?
Who was it supposed to be?
Joe Lopez, I believe, is what I heard. And that's just, what I heard. Anyway, but things happen for a reason. She opened up the door. You kicked the hell of it down. whatever was left at the door down, and the rest is history. So do that song.
Absolutely. This is called Yo Quisiera Tenerte. By the way, this is the way I write my songs, so it's pretty cool because not a lot of people get to hear me how I write them at my house, and it's just me and my guitar. But a lot of people don't even know I play guitar, but this is how I do them. Yo quisiera detenerte, pero tú te vas a ir. Después de tanto quererte, ahora me duele perderte. Nuestro amor se terminó, nunca olvidaste el pasado. Sé que cometí mi error, pensé que estaba perdonado. ¿Qué sucedió? ¿Quién te hizo cambiar? Dejé mis amigos, mi forma de ser, hice lo imposible por volverte a ver. Aprendí a llorar, aprendí a rezar. Hoy le pido a Dios que no me puedas dejar. Yo quisiera detenerte y tú te vas a marchar. Te acostumbraste a mi forma de amar. Sin tus caricias no te puedo dejar. Para mí, contigo hasta morir. Siento que muero cuando no estás aquí. Mi alma se quiebra, no puedo resistir. Quiero más de este amor. Te ruego, no me dejes, yo te pido. Solo quiero estar contigo, juntos hasta morir. Tú y yo volaremos hacia el cielo. No los podrán vencer. Nuestro amor es fuerte, no podrán separarnos. I just went 2 for 1. I think the next song would only be the proper song. I think that every time I do a Facebook Live, everybody always wants to hear this song. This is like, I don't know why. I mean, I do know why, but I think it's just a lot of people are either going through something with their mom,
Right.
or their mom is going through a battle, or they just lost mom, or they're just having they're fighting within and they need to fix things, and they, or whatever the reason is. I hope that I wrote this song for my mom, and I wrote it because I remember back in 2011 or 12, my mom kept going to the emergency room, and I thought she was gonna pass. I remember she was going like about 5 times a month. And I said, you know what, I need to move back to the valley. I need to move back to the valley because God forbid something happens to my mom and I'm not there for her. So I kept having this nightmare, and this nightmare was seeing my mom in a coffin. So then instead of not saying what I felt, instead of not talking about the dream or anything like that, I wrote a song for my mom for all the chapters of my life, and I wanted it to be forever. And now today, en el Día de las Madres in the Valley, the majority of the schools, the children, they sing Mama on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So
Ese pedacito de pan tostado.
and a lot of people always say, what does that mean? Why with a little piece of toasted bread? Some people don't even know the reason behind it.
Yeah.
And it's basically, es un cariño. For some they decían, ay, mi gordo, ay, mi flaco, ay, mis ojos borrados, ay, mi chiquito, ay, mi baby, ay, mi güerito, mi prieto, And for me, she would call me mis ojitos, or she would call me, mi pedacito de pan tostado.
Porque estás morenito, vato.
Tal vez me miraba quemadito como el pan tostado.
Poquito.
But you know what? This song is, it talks about the 4 chapters of an individual with their, for me, it's from a man to mom, right? But it's for anybody. Whenever you're a child, I think when we fall down, you know, we have the best medicine in the world. When mom picks you up and she rubs that hand over that elbow or over that cut, even though there's no medicine behind her fingers, that medicine is replaced with love. And she'll give you that cariño. Sana, sana colita de rana. Que si no se te quite hoy, que se te quite mañana. And you're thinking it's the most powerful thing, and it's like you begin to,
Yeah.
you know, you begin to take those breaths, and you realize that you look back and you realize that it's not, it was never, there was never anything. It was just mom's love that was the best medicine in the world.
And maybe a little bit of Vicks.
A little bit of it. So then when I became a teenager, I realized that I remember being one of those teenagers like today.
Yeah.
That I would tell my mom, no, hombre, tú no sabes nada, ma. Or you don't know anything. Mom, tú no sabes nada. Que, tú qué sabes, ma. I mean, when you say that to your parents, I get it now. Like, you're saying that to your parents, you're basically saying you know more than experience. You'll never know the road that your mother and your father have gone through.
Yeah.
I always tell people, because I sometimes give therapy to my friends, and they're like, what do, man? My dad did this and I did that. I'm like, well, have you ever wondered what they did to him or what they did to the person behind him? There's always a reason. I go, have you given your best and have you done everything to forgive him and to like be in his life and forgive him? Like, put it aside, because it takes a bigger, greater individual to forgive and to move forward than to hold a grudge and take it with you till your last days. So you know what, man, just let it go. So in this song, I was that young man that said at one point, I wasn't that bad, but when I thought I knew things about love, she was muchacho. Her famous line, si apenas empezaste a vivir, you know, when mom and dad would say, you just started living. When you're a teenager, you're barely starting to blossom.
Yep.
Into what's an adult life. You don't know what bills are. You don't know but here you are crying about love, thinking about the end of the world. So this is gratitude for not just my mom. Now it's a song that's a gratitude for everybody's mom. This is Mama. Mamá, gracias por todos los besos por la mañana, por todos los sana colita de rana. Hoy cumplo 5 años, te amo tanto, tu pedacito de pan tostado. Mamá, hoy me di cuenta que el amor se convierte en dolor. Y aunque ella no me quiera, tú me vas a querer. Hoy cumplo 15 años, te amo tanto, gracias por ser mi amiga. Madre, eres todo en mi vida, te amo con toda el alma. Mi regalo del cielo eres tú, tan hermosa. Que Dios te cuide y te bendiga siempre. Madre, te amo con toda la fuerza que hay en mi vida. Mi razón para luchar todos los días. Desde lo más profundo de mi corazón, gracias, tu pedacito de pan tostado. Mamá, encontré a la mujer que siempre había anhelado. Hoy me caso, pero nunca miré de tu lado. Aunque no duerma en casa, sé que me vas a dar tu bendición. Madre, eres todo en mi vida, te amo con toda el alma. Mi regalo del cielo eres tú, tan hermosa. Que Dios te cuide y te bendiga siempre. Madre, te amo con toda la fuerza que hay en mi vida. Mi razón para luchar todos los días. Desde lo más profundo de mi corazón. Gracias, pedacito de pan tostado. Mamá, desde hoy no sé qué voy a hacer sin ti. Sé que estás en el cielo y que algún día te volveré a ver. Aquí te extrañaré, te amo, tu pedacito de pan tostado.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Very, very nice.
Thank you so much.
Jesse, thank you once again, brother. We appreciate it. Del fondo del corazón, sinceramente, gracias, brother.
No, muchísimas gracias a ustedes, a Gilbert and everybody here on your show. Que Dios los bendiga con muchos más episodes y que les traiga de las mejores bendiciones a ustedes y a todos los que están conectados con ustedes. Gracias. Thank you for bringing that light out of people, or that information, or that message that sometimes people want to get across to people. I know you personally, Jonny. You did it for many years. To me, and Gilbert and you, Mico, y'all, to me are legends. And wherever Siggno goes, you guys go, because you guys are a part of my career, whether you like it or not. And where I succeed, you guys succeed. And where you guys succeed, I hope that you'll remember me in all of your accomplishments. But you've paved the way not only for me, but for very, very many artists, and that's why I am here. And with the utmost respect and utmost gratitude for allowing me to once again share my light with the world.
Yep,
you,
we
man.
thank you. And by the way, folks, please, please, please make it a point to join them Saturday, November 30th. They're going to be right there at the stable, and I'm going to go catch you, man. I'm going to be there. I'm going to take the wife. And if Mico's in town, we'll make
Be
it a
there.
foursome.
Let's do it.
But suerte. And I love the fact that you play those out of the norm places like Floors and now this one.
Yeah,
And just keep it going, brother. I mean,
Absolutely.
keep it going everywhere, man.
No, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much once again. We'll see you soon again. We're going to be there on November 30th.
Yeah.
La gran invitación. We're going to be at the stable. It's going to be the first time Siggno plays there. Invitando a
Right
todos
there.
nuestros amigos. Get your tickets. You can already get your tickets there online. Along with us is going to be that 19-year-old sensation now, which is
Nathan Acosta, Southside boy from San Antonio.
Yeah, you're going to get to
Had
see
a
him.
record deal before he graduated high school. Damn. The only thing that I had before I graduated high school was piojos, okay? All right. But nonetheless, again, thank you, my
Thank
brother.
you,
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, man.
I'm going to sing one more for you guys. Am I allowed?
Yeah.
This is the very first song that went 29 weeks for number 1.
All right.
¿Para qué seguir si tú ya no me quieres? Pasa noches, no me tocas y me duele. Se terminó nuestro amor. Cuántas madrugadas esperando, despierto que me hablaras, o que al menos con tus labios me tocaras. No hay manera de hacerte feliz. Mejor dímelo, dime que tú ya no me quieres. Dímelo, que estás cansada de mi amor, que te molesto el corazón, mejor dímelo, porque sé que no quieres seguir conmigo. Dímelo, porque yo no te lo puedo decir. Mejor dímelo. Whoa.
Yeah.
My last message to everybody: hey, I didn't know how to play accordion. I wasn't a singer. This is not what I planned to do in life. But when God guides you, when God gives you the tools, when you have a dream, and when you set your mind to it, I know you hear this a lot in school, but when you set your mind to it, anything is possible. And I'm a living testament of it. I've been doing this for 24 years, you know. All I can tell you is I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this for, but I'm grateful for my 24 years of life. And thank you once again to everybody that was connected, everybody that's watching this later on. Espero que that this was a good way to get to know Siggno just a little bit more. Que Dios los bendiga a cada uno de ustedes. You guys have a good night, and thank you, Jonny, Mico.
Yep. Thank
Legends in my world.
Thank you, man.
Hey,
Thank you.
Gilbert,
appreciate
thank
it.
you so much. Thank you so much, my brother.
All right. By the way, the opinions and comments of on this show expressed by yours truly and Mico Rodriguez do not reflect those of our employers or people we work with.
Nope.
They come from the sick and demented minds of, well, yours truly and Mico Rodriguez. Some assembly required, subject to change, tax title license and batteries not included. Colorín colorado, este show se ha acabado. Ya lo hubo con el tubo, se acabó el toothpaste, peace, and taco grease.
The Radio Guys podcast was powered by AA Best Bail Bonds at 210-225-2121. Stress-free bail bonds 24/7, 365, anywhere in San Antonio.